You say, where are the cows? Where are the cows? You remember that statement? These are some of the things that embody this guy. If there is a Nigeria, that is when you guys can have the opportunity to rule, to steal and embezzle and, act with impunity. But if there's no Nigeria, hello, great people. The governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has cried out about the influx of bandits and terrorists from the north into the southwest. He made this statement asserting that there was a time that he lodged and bandits from security report were just 2 kilometers away. Now, let us have a comparison here. A governor with all the security apparatchik was lodged and bandits were just 2 kilometers away, were that close. So the governor cried out about the influx of these terrorists from north to southwest Nigeria, particularly in Oyo State. Now, let us look at the issues pertaining to this and the consequences and implications of this and the actions of government and, of course, what the citizens can do as well. You see, what I can say first, as regards this influx of terrorists and bandits from the north to the south, is that first, it shows that the Nigerian military is working. In the sense that, let us paint a real life scenario. Bandits, terrorists, Boko Haramis, they are not like free, legitimate citizens. Being a non-state actor, being somebody that has taken arms against the state, you don't have the freedom of every other citizen. So you can't be parading yourself all over the place. So once you are settled in a place and you know the terrain of that place, you will not leave that place except there is a threat to your operation or to your life. That is what will make you to leave that place. So for Boko Haramists, for bandits, for terrorists to be leaving the north and be migrating to the south, it shows that the Nigerian military is eating them hard, fast and strong, and they are beginning to feel the heat. So that migration is one of the consequences, is one of the fallout of the operation, the effectiveness of the operation of the Nigerian military. That is one thing we need to get, that if the Nigerian military are not effective, those guys will not be migrating to the south. But it's because the Nigerian military is eating them hard, is dislodging them. That's why they are now running helter-skelter and they are finding safe haven. And they believe that the safe haven is the southern part. But the implication of it is that if they eventually gain ground in the south, because terrorism, banditry is more of an ideology than an unintentional practice or a forced practice, because it has some ideologies attached to it. These guys will form their cells again, they will form their sect again, and they will be a problem on the people of the southwest, particularly in Oyo, and from there they will migrate to Ogun, Osun, Ekiti, and all other southwest states. And at the end of the day, they will find their way to the east and the Niger Delta. That is why anything that you can do as a citizen to make sure that these guys do not have peace of mind, you should do it. And that's why they usually say, if you see something, say something. And the guys that are tackling these guys, give them as much support as you can at any point in time. Because the truth is that this is one of the things that it is a problem. And it is the truth, the reality of the Nigeria that we live in. There's a politics of local migration, in the sense that if you are a Nigerian, so long as you identify as a Nigerian, you can stay anywhere in Nigeria. You can leave Sokoto today and decide that I no longer want to stay in Sokoto. My spirit is leading me that Lagos is my next stop. Nobody can stop you from staying in Lagos. Under the Nigerian constitution, under the corporate existence of Nigeria, if you are in Yobe and you wake up tomorrow and say, I want to be staying in Enugu, constitutionally, nobody can stop you. If you are from Imo and you decide that your next stop is Ogun State, nobody can stop you. So that politics of local migration, the dynamics attached to it, is what is the problem. Because if you are a Nigerian and you can move freely, then if you stop anybody coming from the north to the south, then you yourself will be in violation of the constitution. So the thing is that if the constitution permits free movement across the length and breadth of Nigeria as a Nigerian, if there is now potential for insecurity, what do you now do? Do you violate the constitution or you go and amend the constitution? Then how do you determine those who are not terrorists. And at the end of the day, won't this lead into ethnic disharmony between Nigerians? So you can see that this thing is a little bit complex than you think, because in Nigeria there is freedom of movement. But then that is where the military and the police comes in to make sure that they increase their intelligence and they tackle this guy head on. They hit them hard, fast, and strong. They give it to them back to back, hour for hour, hour by hour, minute by minute, and make sure that they have no peace of mind. Because the truth is, evil has no home. Any breathing space is its home. Evil, that's no home. Criminality has no home. So if those people migrate from the north, as asserted by Governor Seyi Makinde, and they're able to find a good ground in the southwest, so long as they can stay, after a while, that place will eventually be their home and their territory of operation. So evil has no home, and that's why you must not tolerate any evil of any kind, because evil has no home. And at the end of the day, any breathing space that it sees, it is home. And that is why I can say kudos to the Lagos government, because the Lagos government banned the riding of Okada, because these are some of the things that these guys used to do, riding of Okada and cattle trading. So the Lagos State government successfully banned the riding of Okada, because especially in some specific places that they know that, okay, these places could be vulnerable to such attack. And kudos to the Lagos State government for taking such a decisive decision, because if they don't take such decision, as these guys are riding the Okada around the whole city, they are mapping the terrain. They are mapping the terrain. They are mapping the terrain. And as they are mapping the terrain, by the time they will now form their, set and begin to come out in their full, in their full operation, definitely it will affect the Nigerian people. That was how Lakurawa started in Sokoto and Kebbi State. They first got there. They were interacting with the people. They were assuring them of security. If any arms want to before the community, they will, tackle that particular arm, and the people will begin to feel comfortable. And before you know it, they begin to group, they begin to form their cells, they begin to carry out dastardly acts, and before you know it, they became a full-blown terror against the peace and harmony of these communities, particularly in Sokoto and Kebbi State. So for me, what I can say is you need to be vigilant, you need to support the military, and of course you need to support the government as well. Those three things: be vigilant, support the military. The military, regardless of how ineffectual they are, that is what we still have. The police, regardless of how ineffectual they are, that is what we still have. That is the people that we have our hope on. So we need to pray and support them, that no matter which, God should just help you to win this battle, so that we can continue to have peace of mind as Nigerians, whether at home or in the diaspora. And you see, the politicians also needs to be very careful, because when these bandits or terrorists were making their way into the southwest, and the likes of Sunday Igboho were clamoring, and people were saying these guys are making their way into Oyo State, to the boundary community in Oyo State, with profound respect, President Bola Tinubu, maybe for political reasons, was one of the people when so many Yoruba people were crying that these people are making way into the southwest. President Bola Tinubu, then he was just a private citizen and the leader of the party, the APC party at that time, the national leader. What did he say? He said, "Where are the cows? Where are the cows?" You remember that statement? These are some of the things that embody this guy, because these guys would have been stylishly existing at that time. So such a political statement, which is apparently for his own gain, so that it can be in the good books of the North, and at the end of the day, he can get their support as president. And now, these guys are finding their way into the southwest. This is not the first time that we'll be hearing such report. But what I can say, how the president can make it up to Nigerians, is that now, if you make a political statement, then, because being the president of Nigeria is your lifelong ambition, okay, now you are the president. If in the history of Nigeria, even if you leave power in 2027, if there are writing the history of Nigeria, if they get to 2023 to 2027, the name Bola Tinubu, former president, can never be erased. It's just like you are mentioning 1999 to 2007. You cannot erase Obasanjo. There's no way, whether you like him, whether you hate him, you cannot erase him. So what you are looking for is president. You have been president. So the truth is, as a Yoruba man, no evil must now befall your own region. So you need to use all the apparatus of the state, especially a state like Lagos that is thriving. Make sure that you go all out against this guy. Don't be political about it. Another person that I can blame is Professor Yemi Oshibajo. He too, for the sake of political correctness, when Yoruba people were shouting at that time, the immediate past vice president, he didn't say anything, you know, and he is a Yoruba man. Didn't he get the security and intelligence report? Again, for the sake of political correctness, so that Buhari can support him, apparently, from the look of things, at that time, he too did not decide to say anything. Because if you say to Buhari, if you say, oh, bandits, they are bad people, or maybe herdsmen, Buhari doesn't believe in that one. That's why he told Samuel Otom that you guys should learn how to accommodate your people, despite the fact that the murderous herdsmen, it's not all herdsmen that are murderous, but the bad ones amongst them that use being a header as a cover face for criminality, despite the fact that they were wreaking havoc in Benue State. Buhari did not want to listen to that. So if you are doing it for sake of political correctness, Mr. President, now you are the president, then do the right thing and do the needful. You should go all out, because every day you are writing your place in history. And God forbid that it will be during your presidency that bandit and terrorists will now take over the southwest. If they can get that close, 2 kilometers to a governor, imagine somebody like you, that you are a private citizen. If you are in the diaspora, don't you have family in Nigeria? Well, Mr. President, sir, go all out against these guys. Hit them hard, fast and strong. And the Nigerian ruling elite should be united. If there is a Nigeria, that is when you guys can have the opportunity to rule, to steal and embezzle and, you know, act with impunity. But if there's no Nigeria, definitely, you know, who do you want to rule over? And the goal of these guys is to wreck the corporate existence of Nigeria and kind of like impose their own version of right leadership, you know, in their own the version of leadership that is right in their eyes, to impose it on Nigerians. And that is why, whether you are a ruling elite, whether you are a private citizen, you must cooperate with government, you must support Nigerian military, you must support Nigerian police to go all out against these guys, and may God grant us victory. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we relax to dissect politics and happenings in the politics. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with me on TikTok and on Facebook. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.